I have to remind you that you all got that message. Recording is in progress, that we watch what we say and we try to talk, we introduce ourselves this way that the stenographer can get everything down. Hopefully it'll be a quick meeting, and we got to remember you're on tape. Do you want to go around really quick and introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
You want to start, Sarah?
Okay, I'm Sarah D'Honorine. I am the director of the Manhasset Bay Protection Committee.
I'm Jill Monison. I'm the representative from the Village of Thomaston.
I'm Nora Hagenson. I'm the mayor of the Village of Baxter Estates.
I'm Don Richardson. I'm the deputy mayor of the Village of Plando.
Jennifer Wilson Pines, Village of Manor Haven.
Diane Sheehan, trustee for the Village of Plandome Heights.
Gary Lewandowski, trustee representative from Flower Hill.
Dan Fucci, Nassau County Department of Public Works.
Todd Keene, Port Washington North.
Tom Lang. Tom Lang, representing Plandome Manor.
Annie Mendelson, trustee of the Village of Great Neck.
Can't hear that.
Annie Mendelson, trustee, Village of Great Neck.
I'm Steve Kleiss. I'm a guest.
Aaron Molyneux, legislative aide to Councilwoman Mary Ann Del Monte.
Kevin Braun, Town of North Hempstead.
Samantha Wilder, intern.
Is that everyone?
I think that might be everyone. All right.
This is the meeting of the Manhasset Bay Protection Committee on September 23rd, 2021.
Okay, and I guess the first thing is we need to have a motion, and the agenda kind of lays it out for you to approve the transcription for the cost of $4.45 per page, not to exceed $600. Do I have somebody who will make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Don?
Don, okay. And a second?
I'll second it.
Nora? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain? And that motion passes. Thank you. The second motion we're going to need is to adopt the minutes from June 17th. Have everybody had a chance to read those?
Do you need me to bring them up?
If you want to bring them up really quickly.
Apparently it's not very quickly.
This is Kevin with the Town of North Hempstead. Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as is.
It just popped up. You want to scroll down a little?
Did you hear Kevin make the motion?
I did hear Kevin make the motion.
You want a second?
If everybody feels comfortable, then yes.
Jill Monison, Village of Thomaston, seconding Kevin's motion.
All those in favor to approve the minutes as is?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Then that motion carries too. All right, so Sarah, do you want to talk about the next item?
Yes, and I'm going to share this presentation. So as you all remember, is it? All right, hold on a second. Let me start this. See if I can get this to work. So we have a grant from Department of State to do a water quality improvement plan for Manhasset Bay. The last one was in. This is. We'll try.
1993, 1990,
Well, I think it was
no,
99.
98, 98, 99.
So it's been a long road because of COVID. All right, what do you see on your screens?
We see the whole thing, not just the slideshow.
Yeah.
You need to click slideshow
That little icon on the bottom by 88%.
or
Yeah,
up at the top, you do slideshow. Two more over.
Oh. Because I do have the slideshow open, but
And then from beginning.
wait, actually, let me do.
You may have to share a different screen.
Yeah. Sorry, this is taking so long. Okay, you're all gonna see. All right. Oh, okay. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there was a subcommittee formed and so the RFP went out last February. It closed in March. And there was a subcommittee that formed and we reviewed the proposals. So I'm going to do a really quick presentation on it. We received 3 proposals. We received one from Nelson Pope and Voorhees, Walden Environmental Engineering, and Cash and Associates. Nelson Pope and Voorhees and Cash and Associates were really right at our max, which was $145,000 to complete it. Walden was at obviously a lot less than 130, but Walden scored about 42 points out of 100, and their proposal was incomplete. And from their previous experience, it didn't seem they were qualified for this type of work, so they kind of fell off pretty easily. So that left us with Nelson Pope and Voorhees and Cash and Associates, and both proposals were really good. But Nelson Pope and Voorhees came out a little bit higher than Cash and Associates. There were 3 reviewers, 3 of us. It was me, Bob, and Kevin who reviewed them. So Nelson Pope and Voorhees came out at the top. So some things about Nelson Pope, the Nelson Pope and Voorhees proposal. It came across that they gave more consideration and had the plan was very thorough. It seemed that they really reviewed our past water quality improvement plan. They also seemed like they had more experience specific to what we were trying to do than Cash and Associates do. And I know I felt that we got a lot more from the Nelson Pope and Voorhees proposal than the other 2. The reviewers gave them more glowing review comments. And so examples of some things that I thought were a little extra that we got. They said they will create and maintain a contact database for the project. They'll perform a pollutant load analysis to help identify problem subwatersheds, and that's something they've done for other areas of Long Island. And they'll also create a master database of local laws and BMPs, but on top of that, they also do a matrix of identifying which local government is responsible for implementing the law or doing a BMP. So the recommendation from the subcommittee is obviously to choose Nelson Pope and Voorhees as our contractor or our vendor to complete the water quality improvement plan. So it goes to a vote tonight on the committee, and then it will go on the town board agenda. I was told it will be on the agenda for next week, but we'll see.
Sarah, I'm sorry, it's Diane. What is a BMP?
Best management practice. So like stormwater filtration, rain gardens, things like that.
So basically, the BMP would have like, there's probably hundreds of BMPs, but the point is to make a database of which municipalities have which BMPs, so that we can kind of share to say, if I've got this one with, like Sarah said, with like a rain garden, then Plan No Manor or somebody else wanted to use that, say, oh, hey, can I get some information? It's basically a way to help share the common resources that we have.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any questions about the, our recommended vendor?
And this is something we do about every 21 years? No, I'm asking because it's a lot of money. So if they're not going to do it again for
Well, why don't we?
$50,000.
Sorry, this is Bob Keeney again. Sarah, could you just explain again that this is from a grant and maybe a little bit of the funding mechanisms?
So yes, so this is funded through a grant from the department, the New York State Department of State, their local waterfront revitalization grant program. So they are kicking in, I think the full grant, I think, is $167,000. They're kicking in $135,000. I can't remember off the top of my head. And so the rest is made up in match from us. That is, it's made up of like my time, Kevin's time, all of your time through these meetings and such. And then also we agreed to give a $10,000 cash outlay towards the project.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah. So the state pays the lion's share of the grant.
And Sarah, can you just give a really quick synopsis as what the intent of the overall project is? Maybe like a 2 or 3 sentence thing.
So the project is to, so our main pollutant of concern is bacteria, but other things are coming up, obviously nitrogen. So the main idea is to figure out or to come up with an idea of what projects we can do, whether most of them are going to be on land, but some may be in the water, to help move us towards reducing those pollutants and protecting Manhasset Bay. It's also going to give consideration to climate change and how that's going to affect our shorelines, changes in the watershed having to do with whether there's more pavement or more buildings, that sort of thing. And it's hopefully it's going to prioritize projects, so then we can use this plan to go after funding, and we'll be able to point to the plan to whoever we're applying to and say, this was the highest priority according to this plan we had done. And that will make us more aggressive. We'll be a more ideal candidate.
We'll actually have a set of goals that we can actually sort of, go after, and sort of have a master plan of projects to sort of, to sort of go after and achieve over several years. And this way, like the last one was 20 years ago, and some of those projects, I mean, Jennifer, you could probably explain a little bit too. Like I think Standards Brook was part of that, maybe fixing the Mill Pond, some of the stuff down by Manhasset, things that are going to help improve the water quality for, same with, I think Baxter Pond may have been on that list, and then they become projects in their own. But again, it's all about how to reduce the pollutants that are entering the bay, to keep the bay, obviously the health of the bay at its priority, and to have somebody who's going to come in as a professional to kind of give us that help to make that and prioritize those lists, so that we can go after plans and projects and things and set our own goals for ourselves. So we can say, hey, we're doing something.
Yeah, there were, I believe, 13 projects identified in the original plan. The town is actually taking the lead on accomplishing quite a number of them. So that, I mean, we did move it forward. I think one of the things that we might want to take away from what they're doing with the Long Island Sound study is track progress, because that's one thing that we really didn't do with the original plan.
That's a good point. Writing that down.
This is Kevin from the town of North Hempstead. Jennifer, how we track progress was basically ticking off the things that were completed. For example, Mill Pond was listed on the original plan. All right, so it's very hard to get a project like that completed and funded. So as we funded it and completed it, basically it crossed off the list. But there was no ongoing schedule because of the complexity of funding these projects and moving them forward from the town's perspective.
Right, I understand that, Kevin, but what they've done with the Long Island Sound Study is that these projects that they funded, they keep a tracking matrix and they've got a lot more stuff to keep track of. So it just tells you it's been funded, you know, it's an implementation. So at least you kind of know if things are moving forward. And I don't think we're going to have the number of projects suggested that they're coping with.
Are there any questions about Nelson Pope and Voorhees or the other two proposals?
I guess just kind of, this is Bob again. I will just kind of say each applicant submitted a fairly large RF or request for proposal or RFP or bid package. And they did have a guidelines as to what we were asking for in the bid. And again, that's how we sort of evaluated. There was a scoring mechanism. We went through the whole thing. And again, I think from my perspective, and I think, well, all three of us, I think Nelson Pope and Voorhees was sort of the one that kind of came up on top. Cashin was a close second. I still feel like Nelson Pope had more water quality projects locally. And that's kind of, so again, I'm just trying to ease the or questions or whatever about, now we're voting on something as large as this, and for the town to go forward to set a contract. If anybody has any questions, I mean, again, I think that was the response from the three of us as for the, you know, as a subcommittee to try to come up with the best selection.
I agree with you. This is Don Richardson from Plando. I think what we're really waiting for is a motion to accept this vendor. If it's that simple, I'd like to make that motion.
Actually, Donald, I'd like to amend your motion. Not just to tell you, the motion should be you would adopt the findings of the subcommittee and move that subcommittee's recommendation to the full board.
Excellent.
For the selection of Nelson Pope and Voorhees.
I'll second it, Bob. It's Nora from.
It's a big mouthful. Do you have that, Sarah?
I think so. So Don moved to adopt the findings of the subcommittee and moved that the subcommittee's recommendation goes to the town board for the selection of Nelson Pope and Voorhees to prepare the water quality improvement plan. Is that
That's
it?
good.
Okay.
Does that sound good enough?
Sounds good enough. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Then that motion carries. Thank you. Kind of like put on the back burner a little bit for the summer, but
Good
we have
work
been
on that
talking to-
subcommittee.
thank you. I guess the next motion is for a budget of $150 for this year's beach cleanup.
Yeah.
Buckets, scales, food, water. Does everybody want to make or discussion first? Sorry.
Discussion. So this year we've expanded the beach cleanup from one location to two locations. So I purchased extra buckets and extra scales to weigh the buckets since weight is important metric for our beach cleanup. And then food and water is just typical. But I did order extra supplies, and the beach cleanup is this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Sam will be heading up the Manor Haven beach cleanup, and I will be over at Baywalk Park heading up that one.
Is that enough money for you, Sarah?
I believe so. I think I
think you need a little
figured
more.
it out. I think
Like 200?
it's definitely not 200. I think it was around 130, but I don't remember.
And are you also giving out patches for the people who need them?
Yes, so I didn't purchase any new patches because I bought patches last year and not too many people participated since it was an on your own type of thing. So hopefully we have enough for this Saturday.
Okay, perfect.
Are you getting a response? Because I took the liberty of posting the event on about 6 Port Washington Facebook pages.
Thank you. Yes, I am getting a response, and I've got some emails to look at right now. But thank you for sharing. I think we'll have a good turnout. And last I checked, the weather is supposed to be nice.
Yeah, not too hot.
So was the consensus that 150 is enough, or should we up it 175 or 200?
Yeah, I guess 175, just to be sure.
All right, so somebody want to make a motion for $175 to budget for this year's beach cleanup for buckets, accessories, scales, food, water?
Sure, it's Diane Shan. I'll make that motion.
Anybody want to second that?
Jill Monison, oh, go ahead, sorry. Nora, you can second it.
I'll second it, it's fine.
Nora, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? And that motion carries too. Thank you. Sorry, you want to talk about the DEC water collar monitoring?
Yes, I don't have that. Let me open that up. So as you may or may not remember, a couple years ago, the North Shore Protection Committee, so us, Hempstead Harbor Protection Committee, and well, Friends of the Bay, but it's Cold Spring Harbor, Oyster Bay. We all received a grant from DEC. It was actually given by the outgoing Senator Marcelino. So it's, I call it the Marcelino DEC grant. And in case you didn't know, so the scale of our monitoring program is extremely small and is generally, it's funded by pretty much by the town of North Hempstead. The Bay Constables go out Monday mornings, they collect bacteria samples from 7 different sites across the bay, and then Nassau County does the bacteria counts for us. And it's generally been entirely free for us, as compared to Hempstead Harbor, whose water quality monitoring program I think is around $80,000 per year. So they had no problem spending the money, but we, obviously being extremely small, have had trouble with it. So we had a meeting with DEC. Let's see, refresher. Oh, okay. So it was a surprise grant to the 3 North Shore embayments. We had been lobbying for a solid pot of money that would be given to the community embayment monitors every year. And instead we ended up with a grant. So we had decided to divide it evenly, even though I thought the other monitoring programs should get more since they were better formulated than we are. And there was a lot of confusion in what kind of quality assurance plans we had to have in place, and what if we could back fund things we've done. So we had a meeting recently. So the current grant timeline was from April 1st, 2017 until the end of this year. That included 1 extension, and Eric Swenson from Hempstead Harbor just submitted another extension for a year. So the idea is, well, so our monitoring program is very small. It's conducted by the generosity of the town of North Hempstead and also Nassau County Department of Health. And we have no quality assurance plan because nobody funds us. So DEC requires this plan in place so that they can, since it's using taxpayer money, they want to be sure the data is usable. So we've applied for a no cost time extension, which will get, DEC was on board with that. Actually, it was DEC's idea to apply again. And then it was DEC's idea that we prepare QAP for the 2022 sampling. So QAP is a quality assurance project plan. And if that's approved, then stuff that we need to buy for next year's monitoring program would be covered, including the YSI probe that we bought a few years ago. And it should, in theory, also cover it was $1,400 worth of maintenance we just had to do, since that is going towards next year's sampling program. So Dverka and Bartolucci is our contractor who was preparing our QAP. They were also going to prepare a data usability assessment, but it doesn't seem that we can really do that since we didn't have a QAP previously. So instead, what we're doing is we're finalizing this QAP. DEC wants it by the end of the year. And whatever equipment we include in it can be reimbursed. So the YSI could be reimbursed. And I've also sent past report, the 2017 report we had done, and also a report that I've been working on for the last 5 years. I sent those to DEC to see if we can get those approved for quality assurance. And then we could also possibly get some back funding for the work done for those. So there's that. Oh, and so by tomorrow, DEC wants to know how much we expect we can spend. So that's what we're working on right now. So for the budget, our original piece of the pie was $80,000. At a maximum at this point in time, we can only spend just under $40,000. That includes the time spent on the grant, which is about $1,300. If we're able to get the 2017 report approved by DEC, then that makes up about $8,500. That was the amount we paid Fussin O'Neill to complete that report. So that depends. If that gets approved, then that can get paid.
Is that in addition? Sorry, this is Bob. Is that in addition to the 38,900?
No, sorry, that's the chunk. This is
Okay, thank you.
So I should have made that a little more clear. So the maximum we can get is that 38,000. So out of that, my time spent on the grant's about 1,300. This is all within that 38,900. The 2017 report was 8,500. If that's approved, we can get that reimbursed. And then the time I've spent working on a report to cover the data from 2016 to 2018, if they approve the draft report that I sent to them, then that would be another $9,300 we could get reimbursed. And if we get the QAP, which is our goal, is to have a QAP approved for next year, we could about half of that, almost exactly half of that amount will automatically be we'll be able to use. So that would include the money spent on the development of the QAP, the quality assurance project plan. That work's being done by DeVerka and Bartolucci. That also would include the YSI equipment that we've purchased. Most of what we would get out of it, if we can get all of that 38,900, most of it is reimbursement. It would only be about 5,000 more cash outlay. So,
and are they going to reallocate any of that other 40 that we're not using towards the other two groups or not?
I think yes, that's going to be our next phone call between the protection committees and DEC. So yes.
That'd be good.
Yes, agreed. So other things, our contract with DeVerka and Bartolucci says not to exceed $7,000. So far, we've spent $6,000, but within the grants, I had budgeted for over $19,000. So this is going to be a question actually I bring up. If in developing the QAP before the end of the year, we incur more than that $7,000, is it worth going through the rigmarole to increase that contract above the $7,000? Because we can be reimbursed for up to $19,000 as far as DEC is concerned. And then there's okay, equipment reimbursement. It has to be in the QAP, which could incur more costs on the part of DeVerka and Bartolucci, including that stuff. Currently, we don't specifically name any equipment. And then I'm wondering, this is going to let me open this up so you can look at the equipment that we want to purchase. So one piece of the equipment is the YSI, was over $7,000. And then there was maintenance that was $1,400. So DEC says that they will own, you can see this Excel sheet, right? Okay.
Yep.
DEC, so if we purchase a laptop for me. DEC will only reimburse the amounts that it's used for the water quality monitoring. And so I did a quick look at my time spent over the last couple of years, and about 10% is how much time I spent on water quality monitoring. So that means they would only pay $300 towards the laptop and $25 toward an external hard drive. So I don't know that those are really worth it. And then
Sarah,
yeah,
this is from the town of North Hempstead. Personally, I think you need a dedicated laptop just for the data entry analysis. So your review of your time included, I don't think is valid. I think you should, and you could make the justification that you need a new laptop, external drive, and what are other accessories you need to do water quality solely.
Okay.
Remember, this money's going to go to somebody else if it doesn't go to us.
That's true.
And the worst this is Bob, the worst I could say is no.
Okay. All right. That's something to consider. So other equipment we could purchase is I've got $120,000 for coolers. The swing. So right now, swing sampler. Right now, the Bay Constables just dip the bottle under the water. The swing sampler is a little. It's not necessary, but it does make it a little better. It's just an arm. Well, actually, it's a pole you hold and you dip the bottle to collect the water samples. I think we definitely will need a handheld anemometer, which measures wind speed. And then a new Secchi disc. It's not going to be $550 though. It's likely only $150, but I'm wanted to look into depth sounders also, because the depth sounder on the patrol boats is often broken. But that would be included in the $550. DEC doesn't really matter, just so long as this money is going to equipment. So that is about $1,400. And then the solutions, and we would need the calibration solutions we would need for the YSI next year. So the question really is it, so I'm moving forward with including these things in the QAP to, up our water quality monitoring a little bit, make it more rigorous. And it's not going to add that much expense, but I guess the main question is, and it's mostly for Kevin, is it worth reworking the contract with DeVerca and Bartolucci to pay them more if we need to, since we can reimburse?
How much are they asking for? That's one of the questions we never had.
They said $1,500 to $2,000, but I think about $1,500 probably.
But again,
I think
go ahead, Kevin.
An amendment to a contract is not a bigger deal, as doing a contract over or doing a new contract. So I think that's possible even for $1,500. And I would state to the committee that regardless of us getting reimbursed, which is a definite positive for this, it's not coming out of hand. It is important for any future water quality sampling and or water quality grants to have these documents in place, regardless if it does change our sampling or not. In other words, if we go for other DEC grants in the future, or even Department of State grants in the future for water quality testing and or any other thing pertaining to water quality, we will need these documents. So it's important, I think, to finish and complete these documents, both the DURSR or Data Usability Report and the QAP in hand. So my recommendation would be to complete these and have them get paid for by the DEC, because this is a very unique opportunity. We should take advantage of it.
Right, and sorry, this is Bob again. Keen, the change order would most likely be reimbursable, and then that would also tie us into getting the YSI and the supplies and maintenance and everything else added back in. So I think it's worthwhile endeavor. And then we also have the QAP for future use of the YSI and calibration and everything else associated with the use of the YSI.
This is Kevin with the town of North Hempstead. For the benefit of the committee, I would just say the QAP is basically a blueprint that is for water sampling. So basically, it's just going to put in writing the detailed methodology of going ahead and doing the water quality sampling. I haven't looked at ours, but in ones from the past, basically it'll tell you, all right, your Secchi disc, which basically is a white and black disc that is used for visibility, goes over the boat at 3 meters deep, and it basically sets that in a constant document that should be followed. So it's basically an OP, operating procedure manual, OPM, for the water sampling. And that's what organizations or regulatory organizations like the DEC, DOS, and CORE look for if we are to seek additional funding for a more robust water sampling, and or if we decide to do more of the water sampling ourselves as a committee as opposed to the town, or even hire somebody else out to make a more robust water quality program.
So I don't really need a motion. I just wanted to have that discussion and to keep everybody up to date on what's happening with that one.
Sarah, this is Kevin with the town again. I just want to clarify for the committee. So you're looking to determine if it was important for us to continue those 2 programs and or increase the budget for it. What exactly are you looking for in this vote besides a discussion of it? Because I think you should come away with this meeting with either approval or denial of the extended budget to go for. If the committee thinks it's feasible, I would also like to add that DeVerca and Bartolucci had a contract amount, and they're not doing any additional work, but they're asking for additional funding. So that should be also noted to the committee. So we had a contract with them. They're saying they can't complete their work they're responsible for, and they need $1,500. Now, just for the sake of the committee, you should know that's what's going on here, if it wasn't clear before.
I'm glad you explained that, because that does change my mind. I'm sitting here thinking, why wouldn't I approve 1,500? But if they're not showing any additional work, why give them the 1,500?
Well, Diane, that is a discussion point. It's
Right.
not necessarily, it's because, all right, so granted, we still need this document, and this is up for discussion, so I'm not trying to direct it, but
I understand.
from my perspective, it would be, yeah, all right, so this happens a lot with consulting. Bob can tell you, or somebody else can tell you if he comes back, where they under budget it, and basically you're stuck with the fact where either you negotiate, you pay it, or you don't, right? Those are basically the 3 options. And I would just say that $1,500 is not that great of a deal, especially since we're getting reimbursed for it.
Right, I understand.
I do hold the fact that they didn't complete their contract or will not be able to complete the work they did under what it's promised. But at the end of the day, you got to shake your head and say, listen, from my perspective at least, we're getting reimbursed for it. It's going to be a change of contract, but we'll be getting what we expect. And if they come at us again with more money, then we have to discuss this further. But $1,500 is not a lot of money to make sure we complete this document, from my perspective.
No, I agree with you. I just thought it was good to discuss what you just brought to our attention. No, I agree. Can we vote on this tonight?
Sarah, do you have a proposal specifically from them, or is this just over the phone discussion?
Wait, is Sarah still with us?
We lost her.
I don't see her in here. I don't see her.
All right, I guess let's play the waiting game.
I'm gonna text her.
What was the value of the original contract or the current contract?
I believe Sarah said the original contract is $7,000, of which 2,600 and change was spent. So I believe they're looking for an additional $1,500 over the 7,000 for a total of 8,500. But now that Sarah's back, maybe she can clarify.
Okay, sorry, I lost internet, which actually is not surprising. We have terrible internet here in Suffolk County. So what did we discuss? I wanted to throw out there that I had went back through the contract and it doesn't say that they have to, it just kind of says they have to complete it and submit it to DEC. There was no requirement that they had to make sure it was approved. But like Kevin said, they under budget. Yes, so it would be a $1,500 above the 7,000 for a total of $8,500. But I can also go to DeVerca and Bartolucci and find out exactly how much they're talking about and bring it back to at the October meeting. So I know the committee usually likes to vote and get things done.
Sarah,
This is
this is
Don.
Kevin from Town of North Hempstead. I'm going to make a recommendation here because I don't think this board, and I'm sorry if I stepped on anybody, I heard somebody come in. I don't think this board should vote on something without having a full list of, or a proposal on what they're going to do, including completing this to the end. I think this committee should have that number in a written proposal. However, if the committee feels that you can give Sarah a do not exceed number, that would also accomplish it. But generally, I would like to see in writing a proposal that says we're going to get from here to the end and approved for this amount of money.
That's what I would go towards.
This is Don Richardson. Just for the record, shouldn't we ask them to explain to us why there's an overrun? Just to see what they say and at least justify
Yeah, exactly.
1,500, yeah.
This is Bob Keane again. I thought that the 1,500 was to add the YSI. Am I incorrect?
So it's, yes, to add the Y site, other equipment we would be doing, and also to keep them on through till we have the DEC approval. But I think that's why I should go back to them and ask for, tell them what we want, and then ask how much more that will cost. And then I'll bring it to the committee.
Yeah, Sarah, this is Kevin from the Town of North Hempstead. I would suggest you put that on the agenda for next time so we don't lose track of it.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I just wanted to make sure the committee was on board with.
Sarah, this is Bob, and I think the committee is on board. And I think if you need to get a number for the state and they give you a proposal or at least an amount before our next meeting, you should probably add that number at least into your calculations. Hopefully thinking that we're going to come up with some number to approve. So.
Of course, without telling them the number.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Right. This is Bob, not DeVerca and Bartolucci, but I was talking about including it into the state.
Mhm.
Say that again, Bob. I don't quite get that.
Sorry, this is Bob again. Sarah was asked by the state to come up with a budgetary number by tomorrow or the next day. So if DeVerca and Bartolucci is going to be sharing her an amount for a change order, I would add that number into her calculations for the number she's going to be telling the state.
Copy. Yep, got it.
Agreed?
Good.
Agreed.
That's
Agreed.
good.
Point.
Okay.
I put that in red.
Okay. Is there anything else on this water quality updates discussion that we need to discuss?
No, this
I
time. Do you hear me?
uh-oh.
I hear Diane. Yeah.
Okay. I've lost all visual. All I can
Oh.
do is hear you guys. Now we're having a lot of wind right here.
Oh,
And it
that
may or
might-
may not be in effect, but I hear you, but I don't see anything.
We see you, Diane.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, and that's good for me to know. All right, thanks.
We'll tell you when your lights are out.
Thanks. I'll tell you when my generator kicks in.
All right, moving along then. Next item, Manhasset Bay Protection Committee logo pins and discussion.
Yes, so I have this idea that when we're out in public, like if, for example, this weekend when I,
Sarah, I think you're, this is Bob again. I think you're fading in and out and you're,
Yeah, now I only see Bob. I don't see anybody else.
okay,
Oh, you
I
come
see-
That's
back.
better.
I see you all now.
I see your screen, Sarah, but your voice is shaky.
okay, it does say my internet is not stable.
Okay.
That might be the storm, like Diane was saying.
Yeah, I-
Okay, then I'm not gonna,
You can turn off your video.
you
That
see-
will help.
I think if you turn off the video, then she might lose the screen share. Is that true or not?
I don't think so. I don't
You
know.
can try.
All right, can you still hear me?
I hear you.
Yes.
We can hear
Can
you.
you see the screen?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
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 Okay, so an idea I had for when we're doing public events like the beach cleanup this weekend, or when we're at, hopefully we'll be back out in public soon at tabling events, was to identify ourselves by wearing enamel pins of our logo. And I thought maybe I could just get a handful made up and show them to you all, but they have rather, I was researching it online and they have rather large minimum purchase orders and they were kind of expensive. It wasn't something I could just get for a small amount of money. So everybody, so the logo's at the top of the agenda, so you can see what that looks like. And then I went to a couple different, just online, didn't actually reach out to them and get hard numbers, hard estimates, but of a price breakdown. So it can be pretty expensive. So this place called The Studio, we can order less than 100, but it's going to be like probably $5 per pin, which I guess might not be so bad. I don't know how many we would want to get. Actually, I didn't sit down and think of that. This one is $100 for 25 pins, which I think is probably about how many we'd want. I think each committee member representative, maybe a couple extras. I think Wizard pins actually look like they were the cheapest because you can get 100 for $2.80, or you can get 50 for $4. You can get one for $90. Well, I wanted to know if this was something the committee wanted to pursue, and then I could go about getting stronger quotes, or we could make a motion right now to order them. Just so I wanted feedback.
I think it's
This is Kevin. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I think I like the idea, and I actually think you should order a larger number because there's something that we could give to the municipal officials whenever we get to have like a boat tour going back again.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
This is Bob.
I like,
Is this something like a pledge pin that we have to wear?
well,
Well,
sort of.
it's just to identify you, so you can't just
Yeah.
hide in the crowd at a public meeting. Be able to pick you out as having information.
Badge of honor.
Yeah, yes.
I like the idea too. It's Nora. I think it'd be nice to have that.
Okay.
This is Kevin with the town of North Hempstead. Sarah, had you given any thought to T-shirts or collared shirts like Hempstead Harbor Protection Committee does have? Every time I do a tabling event with them, I try to wear my blue Hempstead Harbor Protection Committee shirt. This wouldn't be necessarily for other to give to elected officials, but for those people who come and attend and volunteer for the event.
I had thought about it, but the pins just seemed nicer, maybe slightly more professional. I mean, I don't like the way I look in those kind of shirts. So also it was a little bit of vanity, I suppose. And then also, you can pop it on and off. You know what you're doing.
Sarah, this is Bob Keane. So every year that I've done the Harbor Fest, Harbor Fest, or, you know, the ones at Clark Gardens or anywhere else. It's like, I agree with Kevin. I'm like, I never really had anything to sort of distinguish me as being, and a little pin nobody's really gonna see. So if that was another idea, I would agree with Kevin that maybe there should be an allowance for something like that, even if it's just a t-shirt or if it's a collared shirt. And maybe if that's something that you weren't comfortable with, that's something that you didn't necessarily need to wear. But I've always worn like whatever Port Washington shirt I may have had, which are very few and only one actually. So, or I'd wear like an old Harbor Fest shirt from years past. So again, that might be for a different discussion. But
Okay.
I do like the pins though, because if you are out like the last time when we had our thing, and if we're all wearing a jacket or whatever, you can put that on your lapel, then you know.
Yeah, that's the other idea. If it's cold or rainy, you can put it on the outside.
Right. It also distinguishes the organization. And just as you say, it makes it a little more professional.
We could distinguish, this is Don Richardson again. We could perhaps think about a ski vest, which is just fits all sizes, obviously. It's small, and you put your hands through the straps, and there's a piece in the front, a piece in the back. Doesn't make any difference what you're wearing, and can be a bright color. Just another idea.
What's that, Don?
Well, it's like a vest that they wear skiing. And
Oh,
it's got large straps on it. You put your hands through, and it ends up being a 1.5 by 1.5 sign or piece of cloth on the front and on the back. Point is, it's all sizes, fits all sizes, and you can wear whatever you need to wear or are wearing underneath. Just a different idea.
So what's the idea? Should I come up with a number?
So this is Bob, Sarah. I think maybe for the next meeting, if you want to do a little research on shirts, collared shirts, and like Don was saying, like there are different types of vests. Like he was saying, I don't know if it's necessarily a ski vest, but you could also do like they do sell other just zip up vests, you know, like Patagonia or those type of things, as another idea.
Okay.
And maybe get some pricing or something to see what, you know.
So this is Ken with the Town of Northampton. I'm not going to go into this too much further, but I'm going to make a motion here that if you want to explore the prices for pins, I'd be comfortable if you want to go with that avenue to begin with. Let's say, what do you consider appropriate budget? 200, 300 bucks, considering the cost you got for 280 for 100 pins?
Yeah, that works.
Good idea. That would move it along.
For the benefit of the committee, I'm just going to make a motion that Sarah explore the purchasing of pins with a do not exceed cost of, let's say, $350 with taxes, shipping, or whatever. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Good with that,
I'll
Kevin.
second that, Don Richardson.
Don seconds that. Then do you have that motion then, Sarah?
Yes, Kevin Braun made a motion to explore the pins with a do not exceed amount of $350.
I think maybe
Research and buy, I think is
right.
what he
Research
meant.
and buy, right. And something has to be amended to potentially purchase. So research and purchase up to $350 worth of pins.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we have Kevin suggested it, Don seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same. That motion passes. All right, moving on to storm drain markers.
Hang on for a second, Bob. And I just want to make sure for the agenda for next meeting that you do have an item that looks in further into either shirts or, personally, I like Bob's idea of Patagonia. I don't think I own one of those. That being said, any additional wares that you may want.
Okay. Yes.
How about a ball cap?
Again, this is Bob again, I would agree with anybody that just something to distinguish us as being a member of the Manhasset Bay Protection Committee, whether it be a hat, a bucket hat, a safety vest, a sash, whatever. Just something that we could have that, like I said, I've done these events for years and years and years, and I've always felt like we didn't have anything to really distinguish that we were actually professional, and I was always just a volunteer wearing whatever, not drink my face off shirt, but I tried to put something on that was a little nicer. So yeah, I think explore a couple different things for that purpose.
Okay.
All right, so moving along now, storm drain markers. What was the issue?
So, so we purchased these in the past and distributed them to the municipalities. There was a question, I can't remember who it was from, but whether we would order more storm drain markers. If that's something the committee wants to do again, I can reach out to all the municipalities and see if they want to participate.
I think that's a great idea.
Sorry, this is Bob. I think, every village is always struggling for something to do for their MS4 stuff. So if they're giving out another 10 to every village and they can report that, hey, we updated or we maintained them or we added 10 more or 20 more. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just don't know what the costs are.
Okay.
And again, I think some of these villages also always ask, what do I get for my dues? So again,
okay.
I don't remember the costs.
Yeah, Sarah, this is Ken with the town of North Hempstead. Last time we did this was a bunch of years ago and it went well. So basically use or devise a budget based upon what we did in the past, bring it to committee, and I think that should be a win-win. Just don't forget the glue or the epoxy that's included with it.
Sorry, this is Bob, and the caulking guns.
Yes. Did those work? Should we continue using what we've used in the past?
This is Bob again. I still have a bunch in mind, and I also know that there's a bunch missing. So they last for as long as they can last, but obviously some of them are subject to snow plowing and other things. So,
okay.
But I still have some that, when we have the pictures from Manhasset Bay, those things where my kids who were, I think, like 7 and 4 were gluing them on, and now they're 24 and 20, and some of them are still there. So,
Do you want us to go back to our villages and see how many we need?
The rain is here. I have to close windows.
Okay. That would be great, Diane. I will also reach out to.
Again?
I will also reach out to the clerks.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can.
Good idea.
That'd be good too.
right, this is Bob again. I think if Sarah sends out a generic, request to every village and ask them if they have a need, then you can discuss it internally, or if anybody from this protection committee wants to bring that to them as well. I think that's suitable. So.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, I would even suggest one more, that the member representatives, forget about the clerks, because I don't know if the clerks are going to have a really good idea, but the member representatives go out, seek a number to come back to Sarah with, to say we need this amount so she can formulate the costs.
Right.
Sounds good. Okay, so moving along.
Moving along, updates and municipal updates.
So 2021 dues and the intermunicipal agreement signatures, it's the same for both. We've received all the dues and all the signatures from all the members except for Nassau County. But my understanding is that things are moving in Nassau County, so hopefully we'll get dues paid and signatures soon.
Right. The county contract is going through our electronic contract routing system. I believe it's now in the procurement office. It went through budget, the county exec's office. I know Brian Schneider signed off on it, so that's always good. So it's just going through some procurement compliance, and then after that, it usually then we have to get it on the calendar for the county legislature. So that's going to be the probably the next step. So I don't have a date yet, but that's the direction we're going. So we'll get it done.
Is that both for dues and the signature?
IMA and the 20 and the dues. That's correct. Yes, the 2021 dues and the IMA. It's all included in one package.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, DEC water quality monitoring.
We already went over that and what's happening with the water quality improvement plan, but I wanted to leave them there as placeholders. because they're
Okay.
basically the next agenda on the previous one. So then it's any municipal updates.
I just wanted to briefly mention the Long Island Sound Study meeting that I attended via Zoom. One of the reasons I mentioned the tracking and monitoring is that they've recently developed a system which is going to be really exceptional for doing that. I'm not suggesting that we do anything on the scope of what they are about to implement, but I think it's something that we do need to consider moving forward. And the second part of the meeting was largely focused on communication and outreach, and they broke the group out into smaller working groups to discuss who we thought our underserved populations were and what the barriers were to reaching them. They have hired a consultant to work on some marketing plans, so we should be seeing stuff coming from them probably in the not too distant future. And the other thing I would bring up is that with the water quality monitoring, now that we're acquiring equipment, which is in the future going to break and have to be replaced, is that the EPA has an enormous budget for Long Island Sound, but they are not routing any money into water quality monitoring. And I think it behooves the harbor groups to make a scene about that, because if you don't do it now, they're busily hiring tons of staff is what they're doing. If it doesn't get on the budget now, it's never going to get on the budget.
That's a good point.
Jennifer makes a very good point. I wasn't able to attend the meeting, but Long Island Sound Study is being flooded with money now.
Yeah.
And water quality has to be a part of that. So Sarah, as the representative, you got to make your voice known. And I'm assuming Eric would be on board as well as the other committees.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure. Yeah, they'll definitely be on board. That's a really good point. Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Any other updates?
Yeah, this is Kevin from the town of Northampton. I'm sorry, I'm not going to wait my turn in line here. The last rain that we had a couple weeks ago has caused a lot of damage and washouts. Everybody remembers, I guess, the large rain that we had.
Hurricane Henri.
No, it was after Hurricane Henri.
Right, the after effects of
Ida.
Hurricane Henri.
Ida?
Ida.
Ida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So long story short, we had, anybody who's seen Mill Pond, and I haven't quite got the full gist of it, a lot of the walls blew in. This in fact had it has had a detrimental effect on some of the wetland plantings and some of the sediment buildup. We don't know exactly what is going to be the fallout from it, but just know that there's a lot of washouts that haven't been really discovered yet, and some that are, and that we're going to have problems with a lot of things going forward, including more beach erosion and other things associated with it. That is what I have now that I can remember.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, this is Don Richardson. Who might be submitting reimbursement for that under the money that's coming out for Ida? Like the municipalities are submitting their own. What municipality might that go under?
I think you're referring to a possible FEMA reimbursement.
Yeah.
Because Nassau County is considered a disaster area.
Right.
I don't know who at the town is taking charge of it, but basically every individual municipality and or village has to make their claim to FEMA. And basically what happens is FEMA comes together, you get some idea of what it's going to cost, and then you go from there. You have to prove that was in effect, but I don't know who's doing it for the villages or the town at this point.
Whose land is that?
Mill Pond is town North Hempstead owned.
Okay. Well, maybe somebody could ask the town then, whether they're going to include that or could include it.
I'm sure they are. At this point, it's a little premature. Just put it this way, we still have funding from Hurricane Sandy that hasn't been spent yet, that we just got. And the truth is that everybody thinks free money is free, but I would warn you that nothing in this world is free. So besides that, you have to go and get permits. You have to go through regulatory agencies. They require you to have plans in place, and all this going through the procurement process takes a long time. So I think at this point it's premature. I haven't heard from the administration or anybody else to this effect who will be leading that charge. It's different people at different times depending upon who's still around. So I can't tell you any more about it at this point.
Very good, thanks.
Are there any more municipal updates?
Not at this point.
No.
Yeah, this is Dan Fucci from Nassau County. I just wanted to add, I think there was it was brought up at the last meeting or in one of the previous meetings about the invasive species that are inundating the Baxter Pond Park area.
Yeah.
Specifically the kudzu vine, I believe. The DEC did reach out to us and they're looking to possibly do some sort of treatment starting in late October, possibly. So I know I had asked them to send over a permission to access the property form. So they got that over to me. So I sent that form up the food chain for hopefully to get a signature. So, you know, the DEC can start to do some treatment in the Baxter Pond Park area.
That's great, Dan.
Great.
Thanks, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Okay.
This is Kevin with the town of North Hempstead. Do you guys got a permit already to treat the invasive, or is that what the DEC is looking to do?
The DEC is handling everything. They're doing the actual treatment, which was music to my ears.
Yeah, copy that. But I would just suggest this, Dan, because invasive species, as you know, being on the job for so long, it's not a one-shot deal and done. So if you can get a permit, there's other avenues, and you know it well, Nassau County Soil and Water Conservation District, which may be able to follow up with additional funds to do just exactly that work.
Yeah, I believe their plan is a multi-year attack of the issue. So that's what they were telling us, the DEC. So again, that sounds great to me. If they want to come back every year and do a treatment, and all we have to do is give them access to you know, permission to access the property. You know, sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works.
I would point out the Science Museum of Long Island recently got, I believe it was a $50,000 grant to do, they also have kudzu, an invasive removal and a native plant restoration following that.
Yeah, but I think the DEC is administering the treatment up there as well, or as far as I remember.
It was a NIFWIF grant.
NIFWIF, yeah.
Yes,
That's
they
what-
are, just
do
for
you-
clarification.
DEC's doing the treatment at SMLI also?
Yes, they are. We're on the calendar and it'll begin in October. And I think Frank Piccinini from Spadefoot, in conjunction with Kristen Laird, who is the director there, and Matt Ricciardi of Port was very involved in putting that all together and getting on their calendar. And there was an email Matt received from, I have to look back and look it up, but a representative with DEC saying, yes, this is confirmed. We will see you in October.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good.
All right. Anybody have any last comments, remarks, anything?
Just that beach cleanup is this Saturday, 9:30 a.m. You can
Oh,
go
the
out.
upcoming meetings?
What was that?
The upcoming meetings?
Oh, yes. And October 14th is our next meeting. And then the next one after that will be November 4th.
Yeah, Sarah, I'm sorry. I think Bob cut you off. I wanted you to reiterate the beach cleanup stuff and specifically where the snacks would be.
So I have snacks for both locations. So you can go to Manor Haven Beach and help out Sam, or you can come to Baywalk and help me out. I've got snacks for both locations, and I was telling elected officials to come to Baywalk Park since it's our first time over there cleaning up over there. And I mean, in the past, the Manor Haven Beach has seemed, well, like we've brought in a lot of trash, but it seemed fairly clean. So I'm hoping we're gonna get a lot of stuff out of Baywalk. So I was walking in, there's a lot of wrappers because it's right on Shore Road. So I'm excited.
That'd be great to have a Manhasset Bay Protection Committee hat during that time, but I think it's a little too soon.
We could have used a hat at that May function we were at in Oyster Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or sweltering. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Bob, you can bring your sash.
There you go.
I might get that for Bob now.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, okay. If there's nothing else, then does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? Oh, Jennifer's waving. Jennifer's waving. I have Jennifer giving the motion to adjourn. So I don't really need a vote for that. So I would like to say thank you for everybody. Thank you for coming in a time that you've spent tonight, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
Very good.
So long.
Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night, everybody.